Well, it's 2 after, so let's get started on our check-in. So, check-in question today was, what was the impact on your week after we did the future self exercise? Eddie, what about you? What was the impact after?
Okay, I'm sorry. I was doing something here. Can you repeat the question for me, please?
What was the impact on your week after going through the future self exercise last week?
Well,
Are you there, Eddie, or were you
yeah,
talking?
I'm still here. Yeah,
Okay. Well, we did the exercise last week. What was the impact for you?
back for the exercise. Oh, okay. Now I hear you. Now I hear you. Let me back there because let me remember what we did last week.
I think your future self was I'll be there,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh-huh. Back home. Okay, yeah. This is great. This is a great exercise, and it's funny for me. I'm sorry. I don't know is because my communication skills. I don't know if it's that, but the last class I start to realize, I start to understand much better. You know how doing the course. Okay, because what I see here is uh, I did not pay attention that how it is the instruction. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to the book, when you go to the book, okay, and you see how here, that's mean the whole exercise. Am I clear or not?
Let me see if I understand you right. So it's one thing to just read about the exercise in a book. It's another thing to experience it. And so it sounds like experiencing it, you learn more of what's going on and why it's working.
No, what I want to say is, last class I understand more how the course works.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the impact for me is open my mind to understand more the process. I can tell you, for me, I was confused in every step. I was confused in every step. Was not clear for me every steps, you know. And the last class look like I get the connection.
That's awesome. So it connected the dots for you.
Exactly.
Thank you, Eddie. So glad to hear that. Robin, what about you?
Oh, let's see. I thought it was a great positive. It just it definitely recharged me for the week on moving forward and getting things done. So yeah, it was great.
Remind me of your future self's name. You remember?
Wait. Happy to no happy to be here, or was that Mike's?
No, Mike was giggling.
That was me. I was happy to be here. Okay, yeah, happy to be here.
That's awesome. Well, I'm happy you're here.
Yeah.
Very cool. What about you, Sarah?
Well, mine was funny. I think like you, Robin, it helped me to just have a super powerful, kind of confident week and like feeling assured in what I'm doing. But it was really funny. So it's a funny story. Like in my future vision, I had this great house, and I kept thinking like with lush gardens. Like have all these beautiful gardens and I'm growing things and whatever. And it's wonderful. Well, last week the apartment, they put a notice on everyone's doors, like it's like a big uproar because it's like a garden community. This patio violation policy, you can only have like 1 to 2 plants, and everyone in the whole community is like in a big uproar about it. Like I keep thinking of my future vision, and I'm like, but I want lush gardens. Like all week, and I'm like, don't forget your dream. Someday you will have lush gardens. You might have to take your plants away right now, but that's your dream. Hold on to it. So it's been funny. That's what I've been thinking about this week.
Thanks, Sarah. Well, hey, at least you get 2 plants. At our old condo, we got in trouble for having a fake plant outside of our door. Like just a little green shrub. So I feel ya. I'm dreaming of having a garden one day too.
Aw.
All right. Mike, what about you? How did giggling?
Yeah, it was something like the giggler. I carried the giggler with me as I went into, this is my last week of travel as part of this big project. And so, I kept it in me just as a mechanism for maybe remaining upbeat, as for the final push. I didn't think about it really overtly, but it was definitely there, kind of in the background. And I added some, intentions to my morning exercises around being a little sillier. And so that was helpful just to kind of keep me, again, on an upbeat scale. So I think for me, it's something I can carry with me and remind myself of that goal and find little ways to continue on that path.
That's awesome. So could you share with us maybe how you add silliness to your meditation? I'm really curious.
Yeah, I have just a morning practice where I meditate generally on 3 pieces. One is peace, one is gratitude, and one is joy. And so I just kind of took joy to another level. I use it as kind of a triangle, and I just kind of focus on that almost like a mantra. But then I added joy at the end. And so I moved from joy into silliness and then silliness into peace. So hopefully I can keep it. My plan is to keep it in there in that framework.
That's awesome. That sounds like it was probably a little bit energizing, like going to something silly. And
yeah. It's something that's motivating. It's something you can look forward to.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing, Mike. All right. Kellen, what was the impact on your week after we did Future Self?
Let's see, the impact. I'm struggling a little bit here. I don't know that I had an impact, to be honest. It's just been a little bit busy and I'm coming up short. I'm sorry, Hannah.
No worries. Well, if you didn't have an impact, just how was your week? Anything you want to share from your week?
Good. It was good. Just busy, like I said. Just spending some time. I did spend some time with my sister, and I heard you guys talking about silliness. I think I missed how that got brought into this, but she and I have always been able to be silly together. I will say that she's like the one person that I have been able to get giggly with, and it can be, it just perpetuates. And we actually talked about this when she was here, because when we were younger, we used to go into the bathroom and just sit and talk, and it would echo in there, and she would start giggling or laughing, and I would start laughing, and then just listening to each other laugh would perpetuate, and we would get into these just bizarre laughing spells, and we were like, we need to bring that back because it was so much fun. You know, it didn't make any sense, and it was, you know, it was just fun. So we're gonna try to bring that back.
That's awesome. Kellen, I'm curious how you're feeling as you've been talking about that.
I guess it does kind of lift me up to remember, you know, that we used to do that and how much fun we used to have. It brings a lift to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. That's a great example of gratitude, because it sounds like you just appreciated that time so much. And so notice those things that lift you up even when you talk about them. Mm-hmm. There's an appreciation for life and just the simple things in life.
Yeah, that's so good. That's such good advice. Really.
Thanks for sharing that, Kellen. I don't know about the rest of the class, but I was like, it's like a sense of joy when you hear people talk about just things that they enjoy. Mm-hmm. Side note question for the group. How might you bring humor or laughter into a coaching session in a professional way? What do you guys think about that? Anyone have thoughts?
I think you could definitely do it through just open-ended questions around, kind of like you did with Kellen. Describe a situation when you do feel silly and what that feels like. You could also do it from kind of a visioning standpoint, have them imagine a situation and how they might incorporate it into other areas of their life, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and actually inner critic is one we're actually going to use some silliness, as you guys talked about. I think, too, designing the alliance around it. Because sometimes a client might say, we're just going to chat for the first 5 minutes. I just want to talk about the funny things that happen in my day. Like, I've had clients like that. Or if they're really intensely approaching something, you can ask permission to maybe share something that's relevant that might lift them up in that way. But I'd say it's always something that you want to be professional about. Does anyone else have thoughts? I think Robin's frozen. She hasn't moved.
Robin!
Oh, there's Robin. You froze, and you were froze like this for a second, and we were like, what happened?
Well, everything was frozen for like 3 minutes for me, so I don't know. It's got to be me. Sorry.
No worries. We were just talking about how you would use humor professionally in a coaching session.
I can bring a lot of humor into a coaching session. We can, just observing things around you can lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Or even just helping them with the perspective.
I like to tell embarrassing personal stories.
So how would you use that in a coaching session professionally?
But that's the thing. I'm like, I can't think of any stories offhand. I'm trying to think. But I always end up like, by the way, like I totally did that last week or whatever. Like, just to make them feel comfortable too. Like, we're all on the same page. Like, everyone does whatever. It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that where, I've mispronounced someone's name and we were able to laugh about it and natured about it. So I think part of us bringing humor is just being good natured and just being honest that, hey, I mess up too. Or, just that kind of feel of like, I'm not judging you. And that can bring a lot of room for humor too. Because if they feel like you're judging them, which is, not a safe space for coaching, yeah, they could definitely feel that way. Kanika, I saw you call in there, but now we get to see you. How are you? Oh, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I had a good week. After the future self exercise, I think I shared that with my husband. And as soon as I started doing it with him, he ran away. He runs away from all the emotional questions. um, yeah, other than that, I think what got me excited was the house and everything that I described to Sarah last week. So I think in the process, I just got motivated to do my job, and I sort of had a fun week because I got involved in work a lot more. It's my week 3, week 4 of new jobs. I'm getting involved in a lot of leadership meetings. It's interesting. Beginning to enjoy work. A lot of my work mind space is going in managing my subordinate and my boss because they don't get along. So fun times.
Glad to see the smile on your face, Kanika. Awesome. All right, and it's kind of funny. I was just reminded of something I actually did in 2.0 way back when with someone else that was in there. It's almost like she called it like we called it the reframe game, and so it was almost like, so say there's a situation. This is actually really funny. So I get really irritated with people chewing with their mouth open, and like my brother-in-law, 15 at the time, put a whole pack of gum in his mouth. Okay, and to me it makes my skin crawl. It makes me want to like run out of the room, kind of a thing. And so I was being coached around like just being more patient with him. Okay, and so the other coach had me look at like the frame of this picture and look at it from the perspective of like a scientist. So, I'm like, okay, I'm going to imagine I'm wearing a lab coat and big, huge glasses, and I'm taking notes, and then look at it from that perspective. And it was hilarious. Like, I am not kidding you. It was just like, I still remember it. It was so funny, but that's just a different thing. We'll get into perspectives and all of that, but that one was just really memorable for me, so I thought I'd share that with you guys. All right. So, as you guys know, I've been in the middle of a move, so now I'm in the closet, aka office. Great. But I've been thinking about selling, because we're selling our condo, and how to advertise and highlight the good parts, and just the really great parts of our condo. Like, oh, can't forget this. This is a really important selling point. And so I thought, as kind of a weird mix-up today, we're actually going to go to breakout rooms, and you're going to be paired up, and I want you guys to take a couple minutes to brainstorm how you might sell yourself as a coach. What are your selling points? What are you really good at? So this is going to put you guys in the hot spot, but it's really good practice, and we're going to come back and we're going to share, okay? So we're going to go to breakout rooms for 10 minutes, and I promise you there's another point to this too. So we're going to go to breakout rooms, and you guys are going to, like, tell me about your coaching. What are your selling points? How would you advertise yourself if someone's asking you about it? Mike, do you have a question?
So this is more discussion, Hannah, than it's discussion rather than coaching each other?
I would say that the other person can be a coach and ask questions to help deepen. So it's kind of a combo, Mike. Like, I'd say that you can step into the role of coach colleague, so you're both. So switch roles so you can give feedback and maybe ask questions to help the other person. Well, what about this? Or and so on. So I'd switch hats. So this is just a very brief thing, more for your guys' business building, but there's another point to it too, and we'll find that out when we get back. All right, so I'm going to pause the recording.